Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lita Shri Vishakanitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhu Videvacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo 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 Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyata Deshataya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gauravakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langhayate giram, yatkrapadam vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam, Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwar. Okay. There is a phrase in the Srimad Bhagavatam that says, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavatyuttama Shloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. The purpose of studying the scriptures is to study it all the time and always. So we have literally 2 chapters left. Today is chapter 17, and tomorrow will end the 18-day program. We'll complete the 18th chapter tomorrow. But then everything has to continue. Whatever begins, it ends, and then there is some other new beginning. So if we want to get liberated, we have to keep chanting, we have to keep hearing, we have to keep reading, we have to keep Ekadasi fasts whenever we're ready. We have to make sure we are keeping our sankalpa, whatever vows we took, do our best to be sincere about it. So in the 16th chapter, which is titled Daiva Sura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga, Krishna explains 26 divine qualities in the first 3 shlokas, and the rest of the chapter are focused on the demoniac qualities. In chapter 15, Krishna was using the metaphor of a banyan tree that is upside down, where the leaves are the Vedic hymns and the body of water is nourished by material desires. That is the reflection of the banyan tree is actually nourished by your own desires. So this upside down banyan tree, you have branches going all over the place. So essentially, if you take this upside down banyan tree, if you go towards the root, then you're headed in the right direction. You're headed towards piety. If you go down on the reflection towards the top of the tree, the leaves, the branches, etc., then you're moving away from pious activity. So you have to be careful which part of the tree that you want to move towards. Because the inverted tree, the root of the inverted tree is connected to the root of the real tree. So even though the tree is upside down, the root is at the top, and therefore you have to go towards the root. So this entire chapter 16 is warning you not to go in the opposite direction. This entire chapter 16 is about climbing that upside down banyan tree, going towards the roots until you hit the spiritual world, because the roots are connected, because the banyan tree is just a perverse reflection of the real thing in the spiritual world. So very briefly, Krishna talks about the divine qualities and then 6 demoniac qualities, and then the Lord gives many examples of the mood and attitude and behavior and conduct of those cultivating this demoniac quality. So from shloka 7 to shloka 20, Krishna describes various aspects of people who possess this demoniac qualities. They don't know what is right or wrong. They don't know what's the right conduct, wrong conduct. So they lack the discriminatory power. They don't follow the scriptures. They actually reject the scriptures. But interestingly, Krishna says, I'm giving you an escape plan. And the escape plan is the global positioning system or Goloka positioning system, where the choice is ours to escape. And very simply, Krishna says, if you follow the Shastras, you are divine. If you choose to not follow the Shastras, then you have demoniac qualities. So the 6 demoniac qualities that Krishna talks about are pride, anger, conceit, harshness, arrogance, and then ignorance. So these are the 6 demoniac qualities that Krishna is talking about. And he also tells us about the 3 gates to hell, which is lust, anger, and greed. The choice is ours. Do you want to go towards the gates of hell, or do you want to move away from it? But the question is, how do all of us get either the divine qualities or the demoniac qualities? What do you think? Where do these qualities come from? How do we get them? How do you acquire these qualities?
The karma or
Karma, okay. Anyone else wants to?
Or the desires.
Desires, okay.
Through our actions, Mataji.
Through our actions, okay.
Lack of knowledge or ignorance.
Lack of knowledge or ignorance. So I'll give you a simple way to remember this. Nature, nurture, culture. Nature, what you're born with. That means you're carrying these vasanas with you from many, many births before. So imagine if you're angry in your past life, maybe the chances are you'll be angry in this life. Because you're carrying this is a very subtle thing, you're carrying with you from life to life. You don't know how it happens, but that's what Krishna says, remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness, everything I give you. So one is you're born with it. That means you're carrying it from a prior life. It's not that the Lord has been unfair to you or something like that. You yourself you've vested a lot of time in those qualities in your prior life, and you're just taking it forward with you. So that is called nature. You're born with it. Nurture. Nurture means what you actually practice. So once you're a baby, okay, you're born with certain qualities. You are born with a particular personality. So yeah, maybe you can't change your core personality, but there are aspects of your personality that you can shape through practice. So therefore, whatever you cultivate is also exhibited as your quality. And finally, culture. Culture means who are you surrounded by? Who are your friends? Who do you associate with? Because Prabhupada says if you hang around long enough with a drunkard, you will also end up with a drinking habit. So similarly, we were saying, if you spend more time with devotees, it is invariably you will become a devotee. Invariably, you will become a devotee. So culture or your environment or surroundings also dictate what qualities are being shaped in you. So for example, which is an animal that is considered to be in the mode of goodness? Can you guess? Which animal is in the mode of goodness?
Cow, Mataji.
Cow. Yes. Which animal can you think of that is in the mode of passion?
Peacock, Mataji.
Peacock. Okay. These are actually examples from Shastra itself. So Shastras say the
Lion, ma'am. Lion.
very close, tiger. Tiger is listed as an animal that is in the mode of passion. And ignorance? An example?
Is it monkey?
Hmm?
Monkey.
Monkey, yes. Monkey is an animal in the mode of ignorance. So when Mother Sita was walking with Lord Ram in the Dandakaranya forest, and they had to spend 14 years in the forest in exile. So what would Mother Sita do? She was so protective of her Lord that she would walk in the front and remove the thorns so that no thorns could hurt Lord Rama's feet, lotus feet. One day she asked Lord Ram, for so many years we've been in this Dandakaranya forest. Why are you still carrying your bow and arrow around? In the middle of the forest, you're not going to come across an army. So what's the necessity for you to carry the bow and arrow? What did you think Lord Ram said in response to Sita Devi's question?
To protect her.
To protect her. Okay. From
Wild animals.
wild animals. Okay. Any other answer? What do you think Lord Ram told Sita Devi when she asked him, why are you still carrying your bow and arrow?
Mataji, for me, I'm just guessing. Maybe he said that because he's a Kshatriya, so he is used to carry an arrow and a bow with him.
100 points to you. We were just discussing nature, nurture, culture. That's exactly what Lord Ram said. Lord Ram said, it is my nature. I am a Kshatriya. And it is not only my duty as a Kshatriya to protect the citizens in the cities, towns, and villages. Even the forest animals are my citizens. If something happens to them, I have to protect them. So citizens doesn't mean only human beings. For a king, citizens means all Jivatmas. Can you believe it? That should be the mood of the king. So there should be no mass animal killing. So Lord Ram said, even in the forest, it's my duty as a Kshatriya to protect the citizens. And it is also my duty to defeat the demons. And because this is my nature, I will continue to carry it because that is the most powerful symbol for a Kshatriya is his weapon. So Mother Sita responds to Lord Ram's answer with a story. So she's telling Lord Ram this story. Many years ago, there was a Brahmana very pious. He had accumulated so much credit. After this current birth, when he leaves his body, he is going to be the next Indra. Now, the Indra and the heavenly planet was concerned, thinking, oh, I'm going to lose my job. Looks like that Brahmana is going to take my position shortly. I'm going to get my firing notice soon. See, everybody is worried about that job, even the Devatas. So Indra thought, I have to intervene. I cannot allow this Brahmana to take my job. So one day Indra visits this Brahmana and gives him a most beautiful, shiny, sharp sword. And he tells him, please keep it in your custody. In a few days, I will come and pick it up from you. So Indra told the Brahmana, I'm going on a mission. I don't need the sword with me. You keep it. I will come back and collect it from you. The Brahmana says, okay. Now, Brahmanas are very kind. They are not going to steal anything from you. So Indra was thinking, definitely, nothing will happen to the sword. Something may happen to the Brahmana, but nothing will happen to the sword. That's what Indra was thinking. So Indra's goal was to wait and see what the Brahmana does with the sword. So Indra is waiting patiently. Day one, the Brahmana just looks at the shiny sword and says, wow, it's quite beautiful. Day two, he thinks, it is so beautiful, let me just hold it once. See what it feels like. The second day, the Brahmana was holding the sword. Third day, he was thinking, I wonder what it would be like to be like a Kshatriya and to actually fight with the sword. So he starts practicing some moves. So within 1 week's time, the Brahmana got attached to the sword. And because he got attached to the sword, he lost his Brahmanical qualities. Because the sword is an instrument of passion. And Brahmanas are supposed to have qualities of goodness, sattva-guna. You can only be called a Brahmana if you have sattva-guna qualities, sattvic qualities in you. You cannot be called a Brahmana simply because you were born into a Brahmin family. So because the instrument was of passion and the Brahmana got distracted by this instrument, he lost his Brahmanical qualities, and therefore Indra was successful in his mission. So this Brahmana would no longer occupy the post of Indra. So even small things can shape our destiny. Small attachments and attractions can shape our destiny forever. It can change who you're going to be in your next life or what you're going to be in your next life. Now the war is over and Lord Ram has killed Ravana. And he sends Hanuman to go and check on Mother Sita. And when Hanuman goes to Ashoka Vatika, he looks at all of the Rakshasis who have been torturing his dear mother Sita for almost a year. It just makes him boil with anger. And he asks Mother Sita, can you give me your permission to thrash them for torturing you for a year like this? And Mother Sita tells Hanumanji, we should never change who we are. If we are naturally a compassionate human being, we should hold on to that compassion. We should not allow other people's conduct to change who we are. And so Sita Devi now tells Hanumanji a story. She says, one day a hunter goes to hunt a tiger. And this tiger could sense the presence of the hunter. Somehow or the other, the hunter trips, falls, loses his weapons. Now without weapons, he's in danger. So he climbs up a tree and takes the shelter above one of the branches. But as he's climbing up the tree, because cats can climb trees, maybe not very large cats, but as he was climbing up onto the tree and going higher and higher, he notices that there is a bear who is sleeping on one of the branches. Meanwhile, the tiger was circling below. Now the tiger had two food options, the bear and the hunter. Now the bear was asleep. So the tiger speaks to the hunter and says, see, I'm hungry and I need something to eat. He was talking like this to the hunter. But eventually the bear wakes up and the tiger tells the bear, see, you and I are wild animals, so we belong in the forest. It's just our nature that we kill for our food. This man is an intruder. He does not belong here. Why don't you push him down? Both of us can have a nice meal. And the bear says, see, when the man climbed onto the tree, since this is the tree that I also take shelter in, he has automatically taken shelter here. And since he has taken my shelter, I certainly cannot bring him any harm. Saying this, the bear falls back asleep. Now the tiger speaks to the man and the hunter and he says, see, you can protect yourself very easily. Why don't you just push that bear down? I will have my meal and you will have your life. And the hunter, without thinking twice, manages to push the bear down. He kicks it. But then it does not fall all the way to the ground. It falls on a lower branch. And the tiger tells the bear, see, I told you, you can't trust these intruders. See how much he double-crossed you. You were trying to protect him. He could care less about your protection. To which the bear says, see, the hunter showed his true nature. That does not mean I need to change my nature. Atithi Devo Bhava. He came as a guest. So little things matter, whether we develop divine qualities or demoniac qualities. So essentially Krishna is saying, if we follow the Vedic scriptures, we can develop divine qualities. And when you develop divine qualities, you're ready to practice Krishna consciousness. You're ready to begin your journey to go back to the spiritual world. However, if you keep feeding the demoniac qualities, then you're going in the opposite direction. So like this, Krishna is explaining to Arjuna the difference between divine and demoniac qualities. And in one of the shlokas, Krishna is saying the demoniac really do not know what is right or wrong. They do whatever comes to their mind. And in the context of the four varnas, Krishna actually in some of the shlokas talks about the qualities of the different varna and ashrama. We'll not get into that today because we still have to start chapter 17. Krishna also says that the demoniac, one of the qualities that he talks about for the divine is averseness to finding faults, which means a noble person will avoid finding faults in others. And for this, we can look at another pastime. And this pastime is from the Shastra only. So one day a king was giving annada. And annadan means many people will come to accept prasadam. It just so happened that when the prasadam was being served, an eagle was flying overhead with a dead snake in its mouth, and a drop of poison from the snake's mouth fell into the prasadam. And in this way, unknowingly, one brahmana dies after eating that poisonous part of the prasadam. Now, the king is responsible for the untimely death of his citizens. So he was feeling very sad. He was thinking, I have done Brahma Hatya Dosha. You're not allowed to kill a Brahmin because that's considered one of the worst sins, is to kill a Brahmana. So he was consulting with his ministers and saying, what do I do? I ended up killing a Brahmana. So in the meantime, in Yamaloka, Chitragupta is thinking, who should be punished for the killing of this Brahman? So he's taken photos of the crime scene, but he's not come to a conclusion. Who should accept the karma of killing the Brahman? Should it be the eagle? Should it be the snake? But then the snake was dead. Should it be the king? But he couldn't come to a conclusion, so he decided file is work in progress. He waits to see what happens. He is sure that with time, he will be able to figure out who should accept this karma of killing a Brahmana. And he tells his assistant, you just monitor the situation and keep me updated on what happens. So the eagle is carrying its natural food in its mouth, which is a snake. The snake was already dead. The king had the best of intentions. He was doing annadan, so certainly it's not his fault. He did not intentionally kill the Brahmana. It was just an accident. But even for this accident, somebody has to accept the karma. And so one day, a few visitors come into the kingdom and they want to visit the palace and take audience with the king. And since they are new to the town, they asked an old lady, can you tell us where is the king's palace? We've come here to meet him. And what does the old lady do? The old lady says, yeah, that king who killed a Brahmana, I know where he lives. Go this way, you'll find his palace. So Chitragupta thought, yes, I found a culprit. Because the elderly lady had criticized the king and accused him of killing a Brahmana, she had to accept the karma of the killing of the Brahman. So the Brahmahatya dosha was given to her. So therefore, it's very dangerous to find fault in others. We have to be so careful. So similarly, there is an instance in the Mahabharata as well, where a Brahmana was being killed and 4 different people were involved in the killing. And each of the 4 people were from the different varnas. One was a Brahmana, one was a Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So at that time, Vidura, who was training the crown princes, he told Duryodhana and Yudhishthira, solve this case. 1 Brahmana has been killed, and 4 varnas were involved in this killing. Who should be responsible for this Brahmahatya, the killing of a Brahmana? So the challenge goes to Duryodhana first. And Duryodhana says, actually he asks all of them, are you all responsible for the death? And they say, yes, all 4 of us killed him together. So that means all 4 are confessing that yes, they killed the Brahmana. So Duryodhana comes back and he tells Vidura, all 4 have to be put to death because they have acknowledged that they were involved in the killing. So Vidura then turns towards Yudhishthira and he asks Yudhishthira, okay, what should be the solution? Who should receive the punishment? So what does Yudhishthira do? He goes to these 4 people and he asks them, what is your varna? What is your varna? What is your varna? So when he comes across the Devara class of Shudra, he says, you can go free. This is not your fault. Why did Yudhishthira tell the Shudra, you are free to leave, this is not your fault? Why? So after all 4 of them said, yes, we are responsible for the killing. But why was one person released, even though he confessed to the crime? It's a lot of stuff.
The other three are Dvijas.
The other 3 are Dvijas, twice born. Okay, good. But then why was this person released? Because a Shudra is considered a servant, and a servant simply follows the instructions of the master. So the servant can never be at fault for following the instruction of the master. Whereas the Vaishya is jailed, he is whipped, and he is fined. That's the punishment Yudhishthira says that the Vaishya should get. What should the Brahmana get as punishment? What was the Brahmana's punishment? Who was involved in the killing? What do you think? So the Brahmana gets the most severe punishment because the Brahmana is supposed to be the head of society. They are supposed to know what's right and wrong as per Shastras. They are the topmost citizens who are constantly giving advice to the king on how to run his kingdom. Therefore, since the Brahmana did not utilize his discriminatory power, Yudhishthira said he should be put to death. Because he's not a Brahmana anymore. So, karma is a very complicated topic. So essentially Krishna is saying, follow the scriptures, because if you don't follow the scriptures, you are treading dangerous territory. So today's chapter 17 is titled Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. Shraddha means faith and the divisions of faith. And we were saying yesterday that this whole chapter is based on a question posed by Arjuna, because he's been very closely listening to Krishna talk about divine and demoniac qualities. So much focus by Krishna on the demoniac. And that causes Arjuna to ask this question. So Arjuna uvacha ye shastra vidhim utsrijya yajante shraddhayan vitaha tesham nishtha tuka Krishna sattvam aho rajastamaha. Arjuna asked, O Krishna, what is the position of those who do not follow the scriptural injunctions but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in the mode of goodness, in the mode of passion, or in the mode of ignorance? So demoniac qualities means definitely you are under the influence of tamogun. But since Krishna has said, if you follow the scriptures, you're divine. If you don't follow the scriptures, you're demoniac. Arjuna's question is, what if you're somewhere in between? In the sense, you are not following the scriptures, but you have faith in some other things. Then what kind of person are you? That's what Arjuna is asking. Do we call such people who do not believe in the scriptures, but have some faith somewhere in something? Do you consider them to be under the influence of Sattvagun, Rajagun, or Tamogun? So essentially, Arjuna's question is about those who have Shraddha in something else other than Vedas. It may be some cultural norms, it may be some family traditions, it may be so many different things. So for example, the Shastras clearly say that fasting should be done for the pleasure of Krishna. One should never simply keep a fast whenever they desire. Fasting is only allowed on designated days. You can't simply say every Monday I will fast, or every Wednesday I will fast, or every Friday I will fast. You cannot do that. You must follow the scriptures if you want to acquire divine qualities. So what if you keep a fast for a political reason? If you're protesting something that the government has done and you say, I'll go on a hunger strike. This happens very popularly in India. What if I don't believe in God, but I worship some man that I look up to as God? Am I following Shastras or am I violating Shastras? And which guna am I under the influence of? So keeping a fast is tapasya. But is that tapasya under the mode of Sattvagun, Rajagun, or Tamogun? What if I worship a devata simply because, let us say, I am very attracted to Kartikeya? But by worshipping Kartikeya, I do not follow the scriptures. Then what? I'm worshipping a devata, but I'm worshipping in my own way. I'm not worshipping as per Shastra. So these are the foundation for Arjuna's questions. What is somebody does not follow Shastra, but they concoct something on their own? So in response to this one question, Krishna is going to tell Arjuna, even your faith is influenced under the three gunas, and therefore the three gunas will determine how you worship, how you speak, how you conduct yourself, how you give in charity, how you keep austerities, and what kind of sacrifices you perform. So using Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun, Krishna is going to explain faith or Shraddha in so many shlokas. He's going to say, in Sattvagun you'll do this, in Rajagun you'll do this, in Tamagun you'll do this. So we will read some of these shlokas. So Krishna begins to respond to Arjuna's question by saying, O son of Bharata, one is, according to the various modes of nature, he develops a certain trust. According to his qualities, he is said to have a certain faith. So sometimes you have belief systems. Those belief systems are not based on Shastra. But still, you are dedicated to that belief system. So does Krishna approve or disapprove, or what happens? So Krishna is going to come back to lifestyle. He's going to cover the topic of faith and worship, and many more topics. How do you know who's divine or demonian? He will also talk about rituals that we perform, how we conduct ourselves, how we speak. So of course, Krishna is saying everything has to be based on scripture. He has already said that in 16th chapter. But just what if I want to do things my own way? Then am I under Sattvagun, Rajagun, or Tamagun? Then Krishna will talk about mind control and charity. So we can look at this example of the same family with three brothers, Vibhishana, Ravana, and Kumbhakarna. One family, three people, three gunas. Vibhishana could clearly discriminate between right and wrong, because he gave up all of his bodily attachment. He didn't say, Ravana is my brother, I have to protect him at all costs. He understood that Ravana was wrong. He counseled him so many times, but Ravana refused to listen. Ravana represents intense greed, acquiring things for your own pleasure. So I've heard this particular statement being given by many preachers when they give pravachan on Ramayana, that Ravana wanted the kingdom of God Ravana wanted all of the wealth of the Lord without the Lord. So the wealth of the Lord is Sita Devi. So when you separate Sita Devi from the Lord, then it will bring about your own destruction. So wanting the wealth and the kingdom of God, but you don't want God's presence, that means self-destruction. So intense greed means under the influence of Rajagun. Kumbhakarna, on the other hand, had unlimited appetite for eating and unlimited appetite for sleeping. Of course, he was cursed. So excessive sleep means you are under the influence of Tamogun. So ultimately, there are choices that we make in our life. That will tell you whether you are divine or demoniac in qualities, predominantly. So coming back to these three gunas, and then that guna which is considered pure goodness. So for example, if there is a tube light and you cover it with different color sheets of paper, then the light is going to take on the color of the paper that it is covered with. But once you remove that paper covering, then the tube light is in its original pristine form. Similarly, when the Jivatma's consciousness is covered by these gunas, then they are not experiencing their true selves. So once there was a man who was supposed to die by a snake bite. And the snake came to his house and was waiting to finish the man. Somehow or the other, this person who was chopping wood, he picked up a tulsi plant and he thought, today let me go to the temple and offer the Lord some tulsi. But on the way, he thought, I'm not really clean. Let me hand it off to somebody. Maybe they can go and offer it to the Lord. And that person said, no, you want to do an auspicious act, you should do it yourself. So why don't you go to the temple? So as the man was walking with his tulsi plant, the snake was following him, waiting for an opportunity. But Shastras say anybody who is a devotee of Krishna, Yamaraj cannot harm. So now who is the greatest devotee of Krishna? Tulsi Maharani. So as long as the man is holding Tulsi Devi in his hands, the snake could not harm him. So somehow the man was rescued that day simply because he was carrying a Tulsi plant. So similarly, the Lord is also giving us so many chances to do bhakti. But we are always postponing it, thinking I don't have time, maybe later, I have too many responsibilities, etc., etc. In this regard, there is a nice pastime of Narada Muni. One day, Narada Muni came across a young man, and he thought, okay, anytime a preacher's given an opportunity to preach, they're not going to hesitate to take up that opportunity. So Narada Muni told this youngster, why don't you practice some bhakti? It'll do you a lot of good. It'll help you so much. The young man says, I would love to do it. And I certainly will do it. But right now, I'm searching for a job. As soon as I find a job, I will be a little bit more relaxed. I can do bhakti then. So Narada Muni comes back after a few months. The young man has found a job. And Narada Muni asks him, okay, how about now? The young man says, no, my parents are actually looking to get me married. So I'm very busy with that. Definitely, once the marriage is over, I will settle down and I'm ready to practice bhakti. So a few years later, Narada Muni comes to visit him and asks him, are you ready now? And now the newlywed man says, no, we're about to have a child. You know how it is when you have a child. It's going to be so hectic. I have to work harder, longer hours, extra mouth to feed. So I'll be too busy. Once the child grows up a little bit and is able to manage himself, I will perform bhakti. So the child has grown up. Narada Muni comes to visit him. How about now? And he says, no, my child is ready to go to college. It is so difficult. I have to help him. I have to make sure he studies well, that he's responsible. I have to help him apply for colleges. I would just be too busy. How about once my child goes off to college? I will be completely free of all my responsibilities. So Narada Muni comes back and he says, are you ready now? And he says, no, my son is about to finish his education and we want to get him married young. So both my wife and I are very busy trying to find a nice bride for our son. Certainly, after my son is married off, there's nothing else for us to do. I will be retired after that. That sounds like a good time to perform bhakti. So Narada Muni comes back after a few years and he asks, have you not started your practicing or doing any bhakti at all? He says, how can I? Look at this beautiful grandchild in my lap. Now is the time for me to enjoy myself with the grandchild. Pretty soon I'll be gone. There's no time to waste. And so the story goes on. We never have time to do bhakti. Later on, this man dies without having done bhakti. Narada Muni comes back to visit that house. That same man has entered the body of a dog to guard the house. And Narada Muni asks him, what happened? You didn't perform bhakti throughout your life. What are you doing in the dog's body? He said, you have no idea how irresponsible my son is. I handed off my business to him. And he's so casual about wealth. I worked so hard for that wealth. And he's so careless. I was so worried about this wealth, so I have come back to protect this house in the dog's body. A few years later, Narada Muni comes back. This time, that same gentleman, after changing his body to that of a dog, has now come into the body of a snake. Narada Muni asked, what is this? Your consciousness keeps degrading from man to dog, from dog to snake. What happened? He says, I don't know what to tell you. My son is about to sell this business that I work so hard for. I'm ready to kill him if necessary. So essentially, Krishna will always send you many, many friends, bhaktas, to encourage you to do bhakti. So don't delay. Don't keep saying, not today, not tomorrow, not 10 years from now, not 20 years from now. I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I'm too busy. Yeah. So this is the problem when we don't take up bhakti seriously. We don't commit ourselves to it. So here, going back to what we read, that the Bhagavad Gita is the best book on self-improvement. It says that we are not the supreme controller, but still we can shape our own destiny. So now we'll just quickly run through these slides from shlokas 4 to 22, the various topics that Krishna is talking about. He begins with worship. He says, those who worship devatas are in the mode of goodness. Those who worship the demons are under the influence of Rajagun. Those who worship ghosts and spirits are under the influence of Tamogun. That's all. We are just giving you quick summaries of what all Krishna is telling us. So even if you worship devatas, Krishna is saying, definitely you're in the mode of goodness if you're worshipping the devatas. What about the food? In this particular chapter, Krishna describes what kind of food you should be eating if you want to be in the mode of goodness. Wholesome foods, juicy, pleasing. And Krishna says if you have these kind of foods, then you'll have a long life. And most importantly, your consciousness will get purified. You will have strength, you will be disease-free, Krishna says, and you will be happy. But what If you are predominantly under the influence of Rajogun, then Krishna says you have a tendency to eat foods that are either too bitter, too sour, too hot, too pungent, burning. And Krishna says if you eat such kinds of food, what will happen? Krishna himself is saying it will lead to miserable state for your body. It will get diseased quickly and then you will be distressed. What about foods that are decomposed, old, tasteless, untouchable, meaning things like non-vegetarian food? Krishna says it will result in infection, disease, it will contaminate your consciousness and it will lead to early death. So that means we should only eat on our prasadam, because prasadam is in the Suddha Sattva state. So anything that you offer to Krishna and take is beyond the three modes. It is not even sattvic food. It is Shuddha sattvic food because it's been offered to Krishna. What about yajnas? Krishna says those who perform yajnas exactly as per the scripture and they do it out of a sense of duty and they are not looking for a reward for performing the yajna, then such yajnas are under the mode of goodness. However, if you perform yajna because you are looking for some material benefit, I want to do this so that my son gets a good job, or I get a promotion at work, or I am doing it so that people will say, look, this great personality is sitting at the Homa Kund. What a great man he must be. He must certainly be a wealthy person. Then Krishna says such yajnas are performed under the influence of Rajogun. However, those yajnas that are performed without following the scriptures, without distributing prasadam, without the chanting of Vedic hymns, and without paying the priest, Krishna says such a yajna is done under the influence of tamogun. In the sense, there is no benefit. So, yajnanam japa yajñosmi, Krishna says in the 10th chapter, when he's talking about his various opulences. Krishna himself is saying, yajnanam japa yajñosmi, the highest form of yajna anybody can perform, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, is to chant his names. That is the best form of yajna or sacrifice. What about your conduct? Well, if you are respectful to the deities and you worship, even if you worship as a matter of duty rather than out of love, then Krishna says you are definitely under the influence of sattva. But if you are doing everything because you want to be respected and you want to be glorified, then you are under the influence of the mode of passion. However, if you torture your own self so that you can get the power to destroy others, then such a practice is under the influence of tamogun. So definitely Hiranyakashipu comes to mind because he tortured his body just to get some boons that didn't work out in the end. Then Krishna comes to the topic of speech. Krishna says those under the influence of sattvagun, when they speak the truth. But they speak the truth in such a way it is so pleasing and it is beneficial to the other person. Very hard to do. But those who manipulate information, they gossip and do it for their own titillation, Krishna says then they are using speech under the influence of Rajogun. Those who lie and who believe through their words, they can agitate others, they harm others, then such a person is speaking under the influence of tamogun. What about your mind? Krishna says if your mind is generally satisfied, peaceful, content, then Krishna says you're under the influence of sattva. But if your mind is experiencing anxiety all of the time and it's not able to stay steady, then Krishna says, then you know your mind is under the influence of Rajogun. But if your mind is thoroughly confused and bewildered, you can't even discriminate between what is right and wrong, then you're under the influence of Tamogun. Okay, so charity. So charity in the three modes, Krishna says, if you give in charity as a matter of duty, without any expectations, and you give at the right place and at the right time, and you give the charity to a qualified person, then such a charity is being done in the mode of goodness. If you do charity because you want something in return, or you're doing it because you want to enjoy yourself, or you are doing it because somebody forced you to, then you're doing it under the influence of passion. If you're doing charity at an improper place, at an inappropriate time, and to a non-qualified person, Krishna is saying such a charity is being done under the influence of Tamogun. So what is the best charity? The best charitable work is to use whatever it is that you have in the service of Krishna. This is the highest form of charity you can do. So Krishna does not see what we give, he sees what we are hiding. Therefore, use your resources to fulfill the Lord's purpose, then that will become the best charity. So certainly these classes are being brought to you by a beautiful temple, such wonderful deities we have. You too can think of offering something in charity to the temple. That is bringing you these classes. Srimad Bhagavatam 12.3.52. We have already read this in a previous chapter, so I'm just going to repeat. Krite yadhyayato vishnum tretayam jajato makhaihi dvapare paricharyayam kalau tadhari kirtanat. Whatever result was obtained in Satya Yuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapara Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The same result in Kali Yuga is very easy. One more shloka from Bhagavatam. Apanna samsritam oram yannama vivasho granan tata sadyo vimuccheta yadbhibeti swayam bhayam. Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is fear by fear personified. So everybody gets afraid when they hear the chanting of the holy names, because it means your heart is being purified and you will not be as independent as you were, because you've begun the process of surrender. This is the power of chanting. So therefore, you should make the Hare Krishna Mahamantra your lifeline. You can chant it anytime, all the time, and connect to Krishna in this way. So this is the importance of charity. And Krishna concludes by talking about Om Tat Sat, faith. The key to unlock the door to the spiritual world is to have faith in the Vedic scriptures. And here Krishna is going to talk about Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat iti nirdeshaha Brahmanastrivedasmritaha Brahmanastena Vedascha Yajñascha Vihitah Pura. From the beginning of creation, the three words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. So Krishna himself is saying, if you are divine, then you are following the Vedic scriptures. Then these three words are always uttered when anything auspicious is being performed. Om Tat Sat. It begins with Om Tat Sat. What does this Om Tat Sat actually mean? The word Om means Vishnu. It helps one to remember the Lord. The word Tat means, it says, none of this belongs to me, everything belongs to you, Krishna. And therefore, this is very conducive for liberation to practice this kind of detachment. What does Sat mean? You are offering everything for the pleasure of the Lord, including yourself and your soul. You're offering to Krishna. So, normally the Brahmanas are reciting these particular mantras, right? There are so many mantras that cannot be chanted by us because we don't have the qualification to chant it. But the Hare Krishna Mahamantra can be chanted by anybody because there are no rules and regulations. So it can be chanted by anyone and at any time. So one day, a Raja wanted to learn a particular mantra from a great Muni. The Muni says, no, I cannot give you this mantra. Why don't you just go take care of your kingdom, because that is your duty. But the king becomes very adamant. And the Muni gets frustrated. And he tells the king's security guards, arrest your king. So when the king hears the Muni making a statement like this, he just laughs. Because obviously the king's servant are not going to arrest him. Then the Raja gets so infuriated with what the Muni had said. He in turn tells his soldiers, arrest this Muni. And immediately they obeyed the instructions of the king. And then the Muni said, do you see? When I said arrest you, those words had no impact on the consciousness of the soldiers. Because I did not have the authority to tell them to do that. Similarly, the mantras you are asking me to teach you, even if I were to teach you, you do not have the authority to chant certain mantras. It will only be effective if rishis and munis chant it. It will not be effective if kings chant it. Therefore, certain mantras are supposed to be chanted by Brahmanas only. Kumbhakarna also chanted some mantras. He wanted a boon. But the Devatas got so nervous, they told Lord Brahma, you better intervene before he turns the whole world topsy-turvy, upside down. Brahma said, look, I'm helpless. I can't do anything. If he's chanting the mantra, I have to give him the boon. I don't have a choice. So the Devatas thought, okay, this Brahma is not very helpful. Let's go talk to Saraswati Devi. So Saraswati Devi intervenes. So when Kumbhakarna had to say that he wanted the position of Indra, instead of saying the word Indra, Saraswati Devi sits on his tongue and converts it to Nidra. So the results of chanting that mantra completely changed because one word was not pronounced properly. Instead of Indra, Nidra was said. So the results will also change. So we have to follow what the Acharyas tell us. In this Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made it so easy. He has said, simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord, we can go back to the Lord in this life. But for those who are doing other kinds of sacrifices and yajnas, then Om Tat Sat is cited. So in this last shloka, the Lord says, Ashraddhaya hutam dattam tapastaptam kritam chayat asad ityuchyate partha nachatat pretya no iha. Now Krishna is going to give the conclusion. So he is saying, anything done as sacrifice, charity or penance, which is yajna, dana and tapaha. If these three activities are done without faith in Lord Vishnu, then Krishna says the results, O Partha of Pritha, O son of Pritha, the results are not permanent. And hence Krishna is saying it is called asat and is useless both in this life and the next life. That means Krishna is saying if you have no faith, there's no point in doing all these yajnas, tapa, dana. It will not have the effect that it would have if you had faith. That means if it is no faith, it's of no use. If you have faith and belief that if you do this charity, something good will come out of it, then it will work. That means be careful of doing anything as a ritual. If you do something as a ritual, there is zero effect of it. So since the 18th chapter is a very long chapter with 78 shlokas, so the whole of 18th chapter, Krishna is summarizing everything he's spoken in the same order in which he has spoken. So he first summarizes Karma Yoga in the first 18 shlokas. He talks about the three gunas from the 19th to the 40th shloka. He talks about an ideal devotee or worker from the 41st to the 55th shloka. Okay, if you are working for Vishnu, that's very nice. But what about those who actually love the Lord? Krishna spends 11 shlokas talking about them from 56 to 66, concluding with Sarva Dharman Parityajya. And then we understand what are the results of following Krishna's instructions, becoming his devotee, having faith in him, that he is our savior. And what is the result of worshipping Krishna? What is the result of listening to the Bhagavad Gita? All of that is covered from shloka 67 to 78. So I have a challenge for you. After hearing about chanting, I know many of you took a sankalpa. So I'm very happy that you did. Some of you may have hesitated to take the sankalpa because of fear of not wanting to disappoint the Lord and also disappoint yourself. But I would like all of you to join us in the morning to chant at least one round, if not two. Do some shloka recitation, hear some Harikatha, and Sunday evenings you can join us for Bhagavatam classes. Actually, we have started prayers. We have started a new series on Akshaya Tritiya called the Stutis. These are the prayers of all the devotees who have offered prayers. The word Stuti means to praise or to glorify. And one aspect of prayer is to glorify the Lord. So every morning, we just started 2 days ago on Akshaya Tritiya. So every morning, rather yesterday we started. Every morning we are covering one shloka of Stutis. So we are starting with Arjuna's Stuti, which comes in the first canto. Then we will do Uttara's Stuti because she cries out helplessly to the Lord to protect the child in her womb. Like this, we'll keep moving from prayer to prayer to prayer until we cover the entire Bhagavatam. So it is said that anybody who recites these prayers already offered to the Lord by his pure devotees, they will get all of the benefits of becoming a pure devotee in this life itself. So of course, you don't have to look at it as a 21-day challenge. You can join us for the rest of your life. Come every day morning, right? The date is not correct here because I was using an old slide. You can join us tomorrow. I think you see me posting the morning link for the class. This is to encourage you to do your japa in the morning, to hear a little Harikatha. We also teach you how to recite the shlokas, so you can slowly start learning how to recite the shlokas. And then Sunday evenings, we have special Bhagavatam class. You can attend that also. So we'll pause here. I will open it up for any questions that you may have.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
I missed that Sankalpa. Last 2 days I couldn't, sorry. There was some unforeseen circumstances, so couldn't come. Now, whatever we missed, is there any recording yesterday's?
Actually, for those who could not join and take the Sankalpa on Akshaya Tritiya, we will certainly do it again on Narsimha Chaturdasi, which is just around the corner on Sunday, May 11th. Swati Homa will be done in our temple. I think it will start at 9:30. So as the Swati Homa is going on, we can all take Sankalpa. For those who missed it, I will post again. You can just join on Zoom. But before that, we'll have a short 15 to 20 minute session describing what is this Sankalpa, what is this oath about, what are you really committing to, so that you can make a conscious decision on which Sankalpa to take. So we will primarily be focusing on chanting and reading as the two primary legs for us to take the Sankalpa. Everything else will be there as part of the oath. If you can honor it, that is fantastic. But our focus is to get you to chant and also to get you to read the Shastras, or at least start by hearing the Shastra. If you're not ready to read, at least you can join our daily classes. And through this process, your consciousness is getting pure. Yeah, so please do not worry. We will have another Sankalpa shortly, where those who could not take a Sankalpa, at least you can join us on a very auspicious day. Narsimhadev protected his dear devotee, Prahlad. So he's called Bhaktavatsala. He's always there to protect his devotees. So do join us, take the Sankalpa. Do not be afraid to make a commitment to the Lord. It's not that the Lord is going to get angry with you and destroy you or something like that. The Lord is very, very merciful. So do not worry. As I was mentioning yesterday, the Lord is not expecting you to be pure. He's expecting you to be sincere. To begin with, sincerity is the measurement, not your purity. You can only become pure if the Lord himself helps you. We cannot become pure on our own because we need the mercy and intervention of the Lord to achieve that level of purity to go back to the spiritual world. But you have to have a desire. If you have a desire, then yes. Sorry, I lost electricity here. It will come back. Okay, are there any questions? I noticed some questions are there when I was doing some of the pastimes.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
I have two questions, Mataji. 5 minutes net
You can go ahead and speak. I can hear you. It's just there's the electricity has gone off, but the Wi-Fi is working. Yeah. What's your question? Nagesh Prabhu? Okay, in the meantime, I'll take this question that's in the chat. So, for example, I think we said nature, nurture, and culture. That's how you develop these qualities. That's how you feed the qualities, both good and bad, right? It applies to both. So, for example, if a child is born with a lot of anger issues, yeah, he could be carrying these things from the past life. Some of it may be the environment at home that only tends to feed and aggravate the situation. So it could be a combination of multiple factors. Yeah. Okay. What about the people who love to criticize others but finding fault in the other person? Krishna does not easily forgive those who criticize his devotees. So you have to be careful about that. I hope that answers the question. All right, then.
Mataji, can I see 2 slides I have missed when you started aspects of lifestyle?
Yeah. Here we go. Slide. This one?
No, Mataji, just the when you started.
Gotcha. Here. This is the first slide.
No, Mataji.
This one?
Yeah, starting from here, effect of these, there were 2 more slides, no? Like, yeah. Next, Mataji. But, right, rest I have. Thank you.
And that, okay.
Also, Mataji, that slide of demigods and
Demigods. That was the first slide, wasn't it? 1 second. Probably this slide.
after these, I think, yes.
Hmm. Yeah. There's a question about Prashad. I did not fully understand the question. And I don't see Mataji here. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Sorry
Krishna.
for disconnected Mataji. Sorry,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah. Vibhishana and Trijata were born and raised up in Asura family, but they developed bhakti way. How? And demigods belongs to Suddha Sattva Guna or Sattva Guna. Those who are not read Bhagavad Gita, actually, they will pray to demigods like Vinayaka and Kartikeya. Which guna they will get, Mataji? Devotees?
Generally, we accept that all of the devatas are also devotees of Lord Vishnu. But that doesn't mean they don't come under the influence of Rajagun at some points in time. But we can say that since they are considered to be devotees of the Lord, most of them would be in the Shuddha Sattva state. So it is said that if any of the devatas have achieved pure love for the Lord, even though they are doing their service to the Lord in that particular position, then at the end of this life, they will enter the spiritual world directly. However, if they have not developed love for the Lord, then after they finish their service as a Devata, they'll come back to the earthly planets and take birth again. And again, they have to get promotion to go to the higher planets. So it depends on the Devata's consciousness.
Example, Indra.
Indra is considered to be a pure devotee of the Lord, and so is Lord Brahma.
And about Vibhishana and Trijat, Mataji. Born and brought up in Asura family, but they developed pure bhakti.
Yes. So again, nature, nurture, culture. So I don't know if we hear much about Vibhishana's previous life, but maybe he was a bhakta in his previous life. And anyway, word travels, right? Even in those days, he had already heard about Lord Ram, even without seeing him. And his whole house, Rama, 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 Rama was written. Actually, how does Hanuman know that there is a pious person inside one house? Because there is only one house that has a tulsi plant outside it. And that was Vibhishana's house. So immediately Hanumanji understood that, yes, this must be a devotee of the Lord.
About Trijata,
Trijata, I do not know. I have to check.
Yeah, I heard that Trijata next birth is Subhadra, right? Subhadra.
That I do not know. I have to check.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Very clear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. I think there is one more question here in the chat. What was your other question about Bhagavad Gita?
Excuse me, Mataji.
Hmm?
Now, 17th chapter today, what we did, keyword is faith.
Yes.
Now, tomorrow, 18th, does it have any keyword? You just
Yes.
told us something.
What do you think is the keyword?
Pardon me, ma'am.
What do you think is the keyword for the 18th chapter?
Is it devotion?
Surrender.
Surrender.
Okay, there's a question. Whatever there is suffering to the extreme, or people mistreat and torture us, or talk ill about us, constantly find faults, whatever bad, is that our karma? And what should we do to manage such people, even if it's our karma or it's not our fault because it makes us miserable? Yeah, certainly when you are in an environment, especially in a family environment where somebody is always finding fault with you, you can never do anything right, you can never do anything good, you're always a misfit, you're of no use. So such comments we may hear in the family situations. See, deep down in your heart, you know who you are. If you're a devotee of Krishna, then we generally accept that we must have done something to them in our past life, and therefore we simply accept it as the Lord's blessing and a reminder to us that we have to really, really catch on to his lotus feet and not let go. Now, the question is how to manage such people who are constantly criticizing you. It is not easy to do. You can only do this if you stay calm when they start criticizing you. Typically, what happens, which is natural for a human being, is if someone criticizes you, you're immediately either hurt, you're angry, you want to take revenge, you want to speak back, but you may not be able to because of so many other constraints. But if you can be calm in such a situation, you can just talk to them openly and say, yeah, I know I have a lot of faults. I'm not perfect. Please pray for me that these anarthas reduce over a period of time. Now, this is also very hard to do because it's like telling the other person you agree with them. And your ego will say, I don't want to agree with them because everything they say is just bakwas. They just made it up. They are just doing it to make me miserable. We can always take the higher road. We don't have to stoop to the level that other people stoop. We can always take the higher road and be humble and say, yeah, you're right. I have some of these anarthas. Thank you for tolerating me. Please pray for me that I may make some progress. I don't know, you may end up shocking the other person when you say something like this. So sometimes you have to use certain intelligent tactics to get them to stop. And you have to figure out what those tactics could be without it resulting in even more distress and despair. Yeah. If it is not possible to avoid the company of these people, then these are the only choices that you have. A, you tolerate, take it from one ear and out the other ear, because you know who you are. You don't need to be told by others who you are. Second option is to address it head on, but do it in such a way that maybe they'll think twice. So we don't want to address people in the mood of revenge or anger, even though that may be boiling within us when that situation arises. But simply say, yeah, I'm fool number one, what can I do? I keep praying to the Lord every day to help me. Can you also pray for me? That's it. End of conversation. After that, what else can they tell you? If you tell them I agree with you, what else can they tell you? Nothing. These are some things that you can try. Yeah, I'm not sure it will work out. I do not understand the context. Yes, Roshali, you have a question?
Hello.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Actually, you stopped the section of Bhagavad Gita. That time I stopped to join. I did join first, second chapter because means we're not taking class that time. That's why I stopped. That I didn't join that time. Then you have YouTube that recording, then I can join.
Which are you talking about the current Bhagavad Gita sessions? You missed some sessions?
First, second chapter. Now only started in April. That actually stopped between. No, that's why I stopped to join. Before you stop the section of Bhagavad Gita. That's why.
Which section did I stop?
Bhagavad Gita first chapter, second chapter, beginning chapter was there. No, that time you have stopped teaching and afterwards you start
You're talking
teaching,
about shloka a day?
not shloka, chapters.
Chapters. When did I stop? Because I
Before
always finish.
Before like so many days after before. Not now. Before you learn, between you stop. That's why I stopped. Means I'll just stop joining the of chapters
So,
I'm seeing.
yeah.
First, second, third chapter. In
Uh,
YouTube it is there, no?
yes, it's there. You can go to the playlist and find the older recordings there. It is there. I did not stop, by the way. It is there. The recordings are there.
Can you send me?
Do you want the new ones or you want the old classes?
Old ones.
Acha. Let me find it right now. I'll put it in the chat. So you are talking about, let me see. Something that I did a couple of months ago, probably. Yeah, let me find it. Okay, I'll put the link here. Content. Yeah. So the one in February, that's what you want, right?
Yeah, before child.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll find that and I will share it with you. Okay.
Yeah.
I found it, but except I do not know how to actually. Give me a second.
In recent, you didn't took it of April, first chapter 6 in this month you didn't do April
did?
or March. Recent you didn't took April or March, the Bhagavad Gita chapter first, second or something.
I did.
You did.
Mhm.
That only I'm saying. Before.
That only I'm getting ready to share. One second. Here. Okay. Yeah. Here are all the recordings. You can just go to this. Can you check this in chat, please?
That is, it didn't came.
There you go.
Yeah, I got.
Yeah. All the recordings are. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? After Bhagavad Gita, there are morning classes, there are daily evening classes, there are weekend classes. We'd like to see you attend these classes because if you lose touch with scriptures, then you forget everything. Then you
Evening, what class, ma'am?
Evening also we have different classes. Like we read some of the smaller books written by Srila Prabhupada. Then we learn some Vaishnava bhajans. We learn about etiquette and proper behavior and conduct. We also watch Prabhupada's lectures, short lectures. And yeah, so these are the evening classes that we have. Morning, we are doing the Stutis, as I mentioned, from Srimad Bhagavatam. Starting with Canto 1, Chapter 7, we've started the 4 shlokas that Arjuna glorifies Krishna. Then we have a couple of shlokas where Uttara glorifies Krishna. And we'll go on from Kunti Maharani's prayers. So one by one, we'll cover all the prayers. There are hundreds of them that we will do daily morning.
Is there Bhagavatam explanation now?
Yes.
That is when evening class?
Morning and Sunday evening.
Okay. The link will be posted in the same group or any other group?
In the same group I'm posting. You must have seen.
I told you, no, ma'am, today evening only I saw. So I'll just take all those things.
Yeah, I post the link early morning. So you can just use that. Join at 6 o'clock or 5:45, whichever time is convenient for you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, you take us to Hastinapur to show this Mahabharata, this set and all.
Do we take you to Hastinapur? That's your question?
Yeah.
Where do you stay?
I'm stayed Karnataka in Davangere.
Where in Karnataka?
Davangere.
Davangere.
Near Hubli.
Yeah. Definitely ISKCON takes you on trips, on many yatras. Yes, we do. We do yatras.
Vrindavan also, ma'am. Dwaraka, Vrindavan.
Yes. Definitely we do.
You all will inform.
Next time it will be the. Can you say us?
The Yatra posters, you mean?
Yeah, of Hastinapur or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I will share it. Whenever we are doing the Yatra, I will share the details with you.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, devotees. Vanchakalpatarupyascha kripasindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta-koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Shri Gaura Nitai ki jai. Hare Krishna, devotees. We will see you for the
Hare
final
Krishna.
chapter tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
I was at Vrindavan last month.
Oh, wonderful.
I somehow did not like Mumbai, so I just rented out that house and came back to Coimbatore and but stayed for 1 month at Vrindavan.
Wonderful.
It was great. Yeah.
So whose association did you take?
Braj Vikas Trust, they have a flat there
Acha.
near Radharaman Mandir only.
Oh, wonderful. Very
So
nice.
Govardhan Parikrama and everything.
Mm,
Enjoyed a lot. After 12 years, I'd been to Vrindavan.
I see.
Last month I was there. I
Mm.
just can't miss anything of that.
Yeah, it's nice. Very fortunate that you are able to
I was
be
missing
in
you,
Vrindavan for a
Mataji.
month. Huh?
I was missing you, Mataji.
Yeah,
All these
yeah.
months.
We missed you. And you came to Bangalore and we didn't get to see each other. So.
Oh, that is okay.
Your
I'll be
daughter is where
back.
in Mumbai now?
She's come here for her holidays. Yeah, we
Uh-huh.
are there by 22nd of this month to
You are
Bangalore.
back in Bangalore?
Yeah, Elahanka. Vidyashilpa Academy. She's going to join IB board there. They want to start with IB board.
Mm. Well, certainly you should try and stop by.
Yeah. I'll come back. 22nd of this month. We are there.
Looking
Have to
forward
come
to
drop
seeing
her
you.
there. Yes. Meet you, Mataji, there.
All right.
Hare Krishna,
I'm
Mataji.
not too far off from Yelahanka, so you can certainly come.
Yes, Mataji, I know.
Yeah.